Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So, with the coming arrest of John Bolton, uh, or maybe he'll just be served that you have to appear in court, but usually they arrest them, charge them, and then release them. So, he'll be arrested pretty soon, and charges will be filed. Probably, taking documents and information that he wasn't supposed to. Of course, he was all on the bandwagon of that when they raided Mar-a-Lago. But that's the way the deep state is. When they're doing something evil and something wrong, they always point the finger at us or the people that represent us that are good. So that's usually something they've been doing. We've seen this for quite some time. Now, I was having this conversation. I believe that the arrest will be probably the end of October-ish. Uh, Hillary Clinton, I think she's supposed to testify October 15th about the Russia collusion, 2020 election, all that kind of stuff. So I guess Bill's going to be talking, Obama's going to be talking to a special group of people that are gathered to find out from Congress that are going to find out information, right? And from that, I think there will probably, because they already have enough information, that's just another grandstanding for the public so that the public can see, all of this. And then probably Hillary Clinton will be arrested. Now, we could see some other arrests. Juan O'Savin's talked about like just groups of arrest and then a pause and then another group of arrest. So we may see some pretty significant people, John Bolton and Hillary Clinton, and I don't know. So a lot of people continually ask me about Hillary Clinton. Is she still alive? I don't think she is, but somebody's got to represent that until it's basically that box, coffin, whatever, it's closed, right? So they have to be they have to go through that process because a lot of them have already been dealt with. And Sheila Holm has been on. She talked about that. A lot of these people have been dealt with. They've already been arresting people and dealing with them. And there's this funny little video that I'm gonna show you guys of Joe Biden walking around. Looks like and there's a robot that's walking around. He's like walking and he's like hesitating and he's walking kind of funny. That's pretty much what we're seeing with Biden. We saw that with Biden anyway. So I'll show that little video clip. It's pretty fun. All right, so we're already seeing massive numbers of National Guard. We've already seen them in LA, along with Marines to protect the National Guard, who's protecting the ICE agents doing their job. So it's staggered. It's a staggered defense, and if it needs to go offensive, of course, the Marines are very well fitted to do that. And that's what we're going to start to see in other cities. So President Trump has already talked about that, moving that direction, and it is starting. So I guess there's like 1,700 National Guard troops that are being deployed to, I think, that many cities, 17, all right? Not 1,700, but 17 different cities. Because you guys know that I said 17 cities would be going down. So other people have said 14. I think it's 17. So, and I basically outlined all those cities and which ones they were. Of course, New York's one of them. They're gonna send troops to New York. They're gonna send troops to Chicago. Trump even said something. We may look at sending troops to Chicago, and he said that openly just recently. So that's coming. L.A., of course, San Francisco. Some Midwest states, Portland, Seattle. So a lot of these states are the problem areas. The left coast, right? As one of my friends used to say. And more and more. Chicago's next, allegedly. Yeah, that's what I saw too. And so we'll see. But it could be. I think it's very possible we'll see them spread out very quickly because you want to catch them off guard. kind of like John Bolton, catch them off guard. Some of these people are starting to run, right? They've already started to run, and you know, trying to get troops in there quickly so that some of these people don't get away, go into their bunkers, get on their private jets and fly away, or somebody else's private jet, where they're flown away and then they're disappeared. They think they're going to safety, and they get somewhere and then somebody's there with a gun. They shoot them, throw them in a hole in the ground, so they can never talk about what they know. That's happening too. So it's not just we are, taking some of these people down to Guantanamo or Guam or Diego Garcia or wherever they're going, Canary Islands, wherever all of these bases are that we have, seeker bases for 17, including DC, Papa Patriot. Yeah, I'll go with that. So there's a lot of these places that are, designated, that have been operational. Some people have been pointing them out over time. So, is it my mic volume? Problem with my mic volume? Is there a problem with my mic volume? Mike's volume is Mike's microphone. Mike's. So I don't know, Cassandra. Anybody else have a problem? 5x5, truth of Mike. Thank you. All right, Sandra, I guess it's on your end. All right, so don't distract me. So, and maybe it's legit. Maybe you're not really trying to distract me. Okay, Cash Patel's FBI raids John Bolton's home. Now, where did he get the information about John Bolton having secret information? So we know that we have Pam Bondi, we have all of these different people that are working for the Trump administration that have done a really good job. And I think the CIA basically gave him some information. I think that people, the DNI helped out. So we're going to see a lot of this stuff start to materialize because these different agencies are going to start to work together and really start to hammer down. It's not a if, it's not a when. It's already happening, right? It's happening right now. So we're seeing this process right in front of our face. A lot of people were wondering what the holdup was, but hindsight is always great. You can look back on this. I always say just be patient. This will eventually work out. Tulsi Gabbard in the background doing her things. All of the different people that are very, very instrumental in taking down the deep state. So just think about these people. They go into these deep state partners like Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, all of them. They're like one person and maybe their staff in the mix of very evil people that are capable of very evil things and killing them, right? Eliminating them secretly, and accidents happen and all that kind of stuff. Like JFK, he was taken out. So all of these people had that, I believe, in the beginning, and they were slowly cleaning the place up to keep for their safety, the safety of their staff, and so forth. So you have to understand that it is a process. So now we're looking at John Bolton's home, office, and probe over sending classified documents to family. I think all these agencies now are working in conjunction with each other. You see in these pictures where they raided multiple homes, it looks like. So you have all these FBI agents coming in. That's John Bolton's wife. She looks pretty stunned. Looks like she's seen a ghost, right? And lots and lots of really good stuff. All right. So amazing stuff. Here they are at one of his homes. Because they had a couple office. So Trump was really funny about this. He was like, always, I never really trusted John Bolton, but I'd bring him to meetings because, he's a neocon, and neocons just want war after war after war. So he would bring John Bolton with him to the meetings with him, and he said John Bolton was like he was always quiet. So whoever he's dealing with didn't know, what was going on, but they saw John Bolton there, and they knew it was a neocon. So they figured that, hey, they're going to bomb the hell out of us. So let's make a deal. Trump just used that. Trump is like, you just come to this meeting with me. He doesn't like the guy, but he knows the guy can have an influence just by being there because they think they're going to like get blown to hell because he's part of that group that does that. So it's interesting to see that all the people that whined and cried like Bolton, it was pretty disgusting to me over the years to see him bitch about President Trump, and now he's getting his karma. Right, so karma's a bitch, right, Bolton? So we'll see basically Bolton behind bars. Now, some have said that he could stand anywhere from 7 to 20 years. We want him on the 20-year side because, I don't know, he's in his 70s or something like that. So it's pretty much going to spend the rest of his life in jail, hopefully, right? And who knows if he's really bad, if he's really done some other stuff that has resulted in the death or substantial problematic things for the United States government. He could be held for treason. That remains to be seen. We'll see, just how far this goes. So, yeah, Bolton, dead man walking, possibly. If, like I said, if there's treason involved, and he does go to military tribunal, right? So we'll have to see. We'll have to see who goes to prison and who goes to the gallows or the firing squad or whatever they're going to do to, for executions. So I was kind of talking with a friend today, and I was like, imagine somebody like me comes up to one of the executioners, and I interview them, and I'm like, oh, what's it like, knowing that Hillary Clinton is coming to you and you're going to execute her? And he's like, well, that's the will of the people. I think that she's very evil, and evil needs to be taken from the face of the earth. But I'm an executioner, and I'm well trained, not just in the art of ending someone's life, but also in the art of making sure the evil that is resonant within them also executed. Because if you ever seen that one movie, I can't remember the name of it, but there's like every time they killed this one demonic person, they would occupy somebody, they kill him, and he jump into somebody else, and then they do this, then they do evil. So I want an executioner that knows how to execute all of that evil energy too, because we know Hillary Clinton is when she was still alive, and Joe Biden when he was still alive, they were evil people. So you don't just want them executed because that evil is just going to blast out there and cause more problems, right? I want somebody that knows how to like exterminate all of that stuff. That's one of the things that I actually do is when I take out demonic entities, I send them back to the light. I just come in, and occasionally I've had to come in with the armor of God, yes, but normally when I come up on some of these entities, they are not too happy that I'm showing up, right? So I've learned. So the demonic energy entities were pretty. They had their way with me one time, and then Archangel Michael came in and saved me. It's like, it's not the way to do it. You got to do this with love. You can't go in angry, because that's their energy. So I learned, and now I come in with love. Very, very powerful. Like the thing of Archangel Michael. You think he's angry and fearful? No. He goes in with that love, and he just like slices them in half. So that's the way I am. I don't slice them in half. I just departiculate them into a, and you can do the same thing, right? Imagine, if you will. So, Hillary Clinton's energy being departiculated and going back to God, right? So you'll take that God and basically reconfigure it into something else. So we need to do more of that. We need executioners that do that, right? I'm really going off track now, so let me get back on track. Right, so So yeah, Bolton, he's the beginning, guys. So a deep state is basically knows they're on shaky ground. Uh, a lot of the money laundering that they used to do with mortgage fraud and so forth is coming back to bite them. Letitia James and who's the Georgia girl? She's I don't know if she's got mortgage fraud or what, but um, you got lots of Democrats now are going to start to go down through mortgage fraud. So just keep your eye on that. Watch that. We exposed that if you guys remember years ago, and now it's finally coming to a head. So here's Biden, and here's a robot. So we've always wondered, is Biden, did they do a clone or is this an actor? Looks like it might be a robot with, basically a skin suit. Yeah, watch his feet. Yeah, I've watched this about 5 times. It's still fun. All right, so all these National Guard, all these National Guard are going to all these different cities. So that's next level, guys. Now we talked about this months and months and months ago when before even President Trump came into office. There were several of us that were talking about how he had to go hard because these cities were in danger, and it just seems to be that it's working out quite perfectly. So here we go.
This ginger trick almost made me anorexic. So don't mix ginger with this pink ingredient unless you're ready for the same to happen to you.
Watch what apple cider vinegar actually does to your teeth and gums when you're struggling with dental issues.
The Mayo Clinic confirms that
1,700 National Guard troops are now set to mobilize across 19 states.
Ooh, 19. So 1,700 across 19 states. So is this going to be the effective? I think this is the beginning salvo, guys. This is just like we saw in D.C., where there was like, I don't know, 1,000 that came in. Now there's thousands of National Guard there. If they need them, they'll have the Marines come in to back them up. But this is the beginning. 19 states going into, I don't know, how many cities in all those states. So very, very interesting.
Over the coming weeks, they are going to help Homeland Security execute a sweeping federal crime and immigration crackdown that is underway now. The order is effective August through mid-November, Fox News is learning, and a U.S. defense official tells Jackie Heinrich and Liz Frieden the National Guard being mobilized will effectively serve as a support pillar.
Okay, so we're moving in the direction of pulling the military out there, National Guard's military, federal troops, right? So getting very interesting. We know that there's lots of secret cells that are out there that are ready to be activated in a lot of these deep state cities. And just imagine when the demon rats are gone, guys. All of the homelessness will be taken care of. All the people, because in D.C. that's the way it is right now. And then all the people that are on drugs will go to rehab. Now that rehab they will just have to dry out, right? And from that point on, they'll probably be put into, work programs and so forth, become active in the communities again at some point. But this is something that the demon rats have basically been restricting, because I've seen interviews where they come out to the streets in San Francisco and they ask like homeless guys like, what is the state doing for you? And he's like, well, they gave me this card that has so much money on it a month, so they're giving him money. They're just giving him money, right? And they gave me a cell phone so they can keep track of them, and so it's good. I have enough to eat. If I don't have enough to eat, I go out in the street to find some. Wow. So yeah, just give them money. So I can tell you how this works because I've seen this overseas in Pakistan, where aid would come to, like, ravaged cities from, earthquakes and fires or whatever it might be, right? And people give from their heart, and it goes to these aid agencies. The aid agencies get a little piece of that, right? Because they have to, like, monitor it. They have employees, and they get paid a lot of money, and then they give it to these cities, and that's where it gets interesting, because in these cities, uh, in these like little, I guess, towns or villages or whatever, there's a mafia guy. Yes, and the mafia guy gets all the cards from all the people, and they give him some. They give him a cut. It might be as much as 50%, and then they get their share. So this is what the Democrats are doing right now, guys. So all this aid that comes from the federal government to these Democrat cities, they stand up all these people to monitor and help all these people. No, they're not helping these people. They're just getting paid a salary. And there's like these staffs of people that do virtually nothing, although maybe one or two of those people do something, and that's out in the press, but the rest of them do nothing, and they get paid to do nothing. And then there's someone that's over those staffs that gets paid a lot of money, and there's someone over them, all those staff people, and they get paid a lot of money. So it's money laundering. It's money laundering by the Democrat Party. It doesn't go to those people. Nothing's done for them, right? So you have zombies in the streets in almost every major city now, homeless, drug addiction beyond belief. It's really bad. So the Democrats will go bye-bye, right? And when they're gone, some of them gone to prison, some of them gone to the gallows, or whatever execution style they're going to use. Maybe they have multiple. It's like, you get a chance, you get an option. Because it was like, how we talk about how they're going to prison or being executed. There was a time where they were saying that about many of us in the truth community. It's kind of like a threat to us, right? They're like, Michael Jaco, they took him in. He had the option of being hung or shot, and he took the option of dying quick, so he wanted to be shot. Like, what? So he's gone. So very, very interesting how this stuff works. Juan was like laughing about it, and then I looked up Juan, and I sent it to him, and it's like, you too, you better stop laughing. So we had a good laugh at that. So yeah, I don't know. Hanging's too good for these people, guys. Hanging's too good for them. Way too good for them. I don't know if there's some other kind of form of execution that would, like, make it last or be more painful or what. I don't know. For me, I just hang them. I'd revive them. I'd hang them to the point where they're dead. Then I revive them and I hang them again. I keep doing that. All right, that's the way I do it. I'm serious. I would. All right, so we're going to see this start to, I think, really take off here pretty soon. Like I said, in October, November timeframe, I think that's when the first arrest will happen. Executions, they've already been happening, but at some point they'll probably roll those out as well. So just getting people familiar, like with John Bolton. Now, of course, the deep state is like, oh, look, Trump is like, is lashing back at all the people that lashed at him. All right, so it's not fair. It was fair when they did it, but now that Trump is doing it legally and rightfully against them, they're gonna fight this. And of course, they they have the Trump derangement syndrome people. Now, I did a poll where I said, does Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? And I did that on X. So let me pull up the poll that I did, and we'll see how that turned out, because the numbers are very interesting, in these polls, and then of course the comments and so forth. You got to look at all these things. So I'm looking at some of these things over time. What people are saying, how they're responding, and so forth. So it's always very interesting to me. All right, so Nobel Peace Prize. Do you think that Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize? So that was my question. So of course here we have all these monks breaking. 70,000 monks just nominated President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. And it's funny because somebody in here is like, "Oh, look, they wear orange robes. Of course they would like want the orange man to win." Oh my God. All right. So here's my poll. Does President Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? And of course, you had two options. Yes, he's a stud. So we had 83.8%. That's, remember, Juan talked about, we just need 80%. So we're over that number. And of course, the other one was no, I have Trump derangement syndrome. So we had 16.2% of the people responded that way. All right. So that's crazy. All right. And so this was good from Doug. And Obama deserves to have his rescinded along with his presidency. Very good. Okay. So, and so it's like, so of course there's Ricardo. I let people have their say, as long as they're respectful. Ask the Epstein clients. Okay, Ricardo. Yeah. So I fail to see the importance of a participation trophy with a system we no longer want anymore. So yeah, we don't really want the Nobel Peace Prize, because if they gave it to Obama, the thing is corrupt, right? Why do we care? I want nothing from the Europeans and corrupt entities of this world that we are no longer part of. Very good, very good. All right. So the disgraced Nobel Peace Prize does not deserve President Trump. I like it. Yep. So good. And so here's one. Nobel Peace Prize Committee, just for fun, let's give it to Obama again. So yeah, that's funny. It should go to the Q team, Mr. Jaco, and I like that too. I like that. Yeah, it should. The Q team has done an exceptional job of helping maintain peace. All right. So so most people think yes, President Trump's a stud. He should get the Peace Prize, right? So if they're going to give it to somebody, give it to President Trump. I mean, why give it to Obama again? But why not? If they give it to Obama again, it's like, yeah, there you go. It's obviously corrupt. It's stupid, right? It was stupid when they gave it to him. So why would they? It would be like they slime Trump by giving it to him. He'd like, I don't want that thing. Like, get that thing away from me. All right, so we're going to see a lot of these corrupt organizations are going to start to be taken down. So I've talked about how the FBI and the CIA basically needs to be downsized, right? So here we have the CDC is beginning to be downsized. Top U.S. health agency permanently fires 600 CDC employees. So actually, my response to this is that they should continue. All of the CDC employees should be fired, and then the top people should go to prison. And then they should use that building for demolition practice for special forces guys. So those top people within the CDC that run into bunkers, underground facilities, or tunnel systems, whatever, and the special forces guys have to go chase them, they need special skills. So let's just blow the hell out of the CDC buildings, because there's going to be no one wants to go into that black energy, right? So let's just blow it up, and we give the good training for the special forces, and they're gonna hunt those guys down. So I like that. That's my say. Yeah, Truth Mike. EOD. So that EOD is explosive ordnance disposal, so there's not going to be any explosive to be disposed of in there. We're just going to like breach walls, breach doors, breach windows, breach ceilings and floors and so forth. And then we'll just bulldoze it into a big heap, and we'll send all of the stuff to some group, not in China, but here in the United States, so they can benefit from all that material and turn it into concrete and so forth for other buildings that we're going to use to rebuild America. All right. So, yes. We will rename, Joe, I like your idea. We will rename the Nobel Peace Prize to the Trump Peace Prize. That way, those inflicted with TDS will become more deranged. Yes, that's a good point. So, another question I had was, do you think that once Trump gets the Nobel Peace Prize, that some of the TDS people will stop? And most people say no, that they'll become more deranged, and they'll say that the process is corrupted or Trump paid somebody off, or like, probably right. Probably not going to happen. So there's only so many more of those people we're going to pull out of stupid, right? They're going to stay stupid, and it's just the way it is, right? It's okay. They don't have to come along. Right? All right, so let's look at a little bit more that I believe is coming. Talking about the possibility of earth change events. So if the sun is really getting cranky, right, cranking out a lot of energy, and it is really impacting the earth and building up on the earth and so forth. So this is a natural cycle, I think, of change that happens not only in humans, but also in the earth itself. So it's going to be very, very important to be intuitive going forward, knowing when to move, when to hang out, and so forth. So let's look at Stefan Burns. He talks a little bit about this.
Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have just had a huge earthquake, a magnitude 7.5 hit Drake Passage today, August 21st.
Now, this is good. They had tsunami warning, but no one lives down there. Maybe a few people. So if the energies are going to erupt, why not erupt in like isolated places where it really does no damage? Earthquake blows up, super volcano goes off, big earthquakes, they happen in like unpopulated areas. Just get that energy out there, way out there, right? But normally, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Usually in isolated places like that, once that goes, it's going to travel somewhere else, and it's going to cause an even bigger impact. So he talks about how the sun basically, went bonkers and really shot out some energy. Fortunately, it was on the far side of the sun.
Due to the combination of all these factors. And check this out. This is crazy. So this is on the far side. So this is not hitting us. But look at the velocity on that. Nice full halo. A little weaker in this direction. So it did blast more off to this side, as you can tell. So it wasn't from something that just rotated off the limb. This is a spot that's going to be rotating into view soon. And so this is going to hit Mars with that energy. There's been a lot of planetary resonances and alignments connecting with Mars over the past month or so, and there's going to continue to be because 3i Atlas does a close approach to Mars on October 1st. And even the edge of this will hit 3i Atlas. So before this occurred, there were there's one big plasma filament and a big prominence at launch. There's also a solar flare and coronal mass ejection at launch about 24 hours before that double sequence. All that is launching out towards Mars and 3i Atlas, and now we have this also following up, though the majority of it will miss 3i Atlas, some of it will hit it. So we have this interstellar object which is surrounded by this complex dusty plasma, and as a result it's interacting with the electromagnetic circuit of the solar system, and the closer it gets, and it's nicely aligned with the ecliptic plane, then, well, the more we're going to see this sort of dynamic activity from the sun, because we see that time and time again. So we see this connection between intense solar activity and these interstellar objects. So this is what we had today. We don't know the size of that solar flare, though clearly it was quite large. The velocity on this is estimated to be about 1,600 kilometers per second or something, so very, very fast. It did not get to 2,000, but very, very fast.
All right, so we're definitely looking at this thing, this object, this 3-eye atlas coming closer to us. They call it 3 because this Atlas telescope system basically saw 2 others before this, so it's the third one. The other 2 have been through, and they displayed very unusual patterns of movement, which is obviously those objects were controlled, right? So we know that there's intelligent life on these things. I remote viewed it. They're not bad, right? But of course, the deep state, like I've said in other events, if you haven't heard that, so the deep state is going to try and work this to be they're negative. They're a negative group that's coming here, and we'll probably see some objects in the sky, kind of like what we saw on 9/11, but far more advanced, because that was 25 years ago, it was a quarter century ago that we had 9/11. Yeah, their technology is a lot more advanced now, so they'll be able to have something in space coming into, an atmosphere or something. So maybe ships launch from the 3-eye Atlas and come into us, because I guess now you can start to there's just before dawn, depending on what where you're at, you can see 3-eye Atlas. I'm not sure. I heard somebody talk about it today, but it is visible by the eye now. So as it gets closer, obviously it'll be even more visible to more people. So with that, the little negativity stuff is going to start to come from the deep state, right? They're already starting to plant the seed. Now, they probably known for a long time this was coming, and so they're basically building up to this event, the Project Bluebeam, that Werner von Braun talked about, the NASA guy that came from the Nazis that built the B-2 bomb that decimated England. Then he came over here and helped us with our rocket program. Oh, thank you, Nazi, for helping us. So he stopped being a Nazi when he came here. He was no longer Nazi. Yeah, right. So he gave a warning that, the last ditch effort that they will do is a fake alien invasion. So that looks like that's coming. With Bolton and Hillary and all these other people soon to be arrested, that's their last ditch. Now, we're probably going to get hit by, earthquake activity that they're going to ramp up with their, high-tech machinery. Maybe rock us with some more hurricanes. I think that one that happened, Aaron, was just a warm-up, just to give us a show, like, see what we can do. You better stop picking on us. Let us do our evil, right? So, I mean, burn us in our cities, burn us in our homes with their direct energy weapon, unless you have a blue roof. So, the house that I was in was blue, but this one's not. So, a little concerned. So, so we'll see. We'll see how this works out in the future. As far as taking down the deep state, the process is moving. It seems like we're getting, a lot of people that are getting more emboldened. So obviously, they have made some great inroads and results against the deep state. So they're working off each other. So I think that we're going to see some massive takedowns of the deep state going forward. Now, one of the things that we can start to look at in the near term is these guys ramping up. in the big cities. So some kind of attack or something. So they don't have complete control of the CIA, because John Ratcliffe, of course, is there. He's the one that gave Kash Patel the information on John Bolton. We have Tulsi Gabbard as the head of all of the intelligence agencies. That's why we're having this sharing of information. I can tell you, when I was in the CIA, there was no sharing of information with any other group that I was aware of, right? At any level. It was very hard to get information. When I was in the SEAL Team 6, we got information from CIA at very high levels. Then, of course, when I worked in the CIA, I get to see all that stuff, right? How everything worked to a certain degree. Everything's compartmentalized. If you don't have the need to know, you're not gonna know anything. You're just gonna see something and maybe you figure it out. That's about it, right? So these agencies are starting to work with each other, and that's because of Tulsi Gabbard, right? And that'll continue as sharing information happens. They're like, oh, we can share information. Boy, we've been holding this back, and we just wanted to share it with somebody, but we couldn't. Look at this. So, and there goes John Bolton, right? So, and we're gonna see a lot more of that. We'll see a lot more. They have a lot of stuff up their sleeve, guys. So John Bolton is just the first. He's like, it's an easy transition for people. Oh, John Bolton, and then they're going to see how people respond to it. They're going to see, the deep state, how they respond to it, how their press responds to it, who, attacks that. So imagine, at this point, anyone that attacks Trump, Patel, Gabbard, any of those guys at this point, they're deep state, right? So they're seeing who's going to do the attacks. Anybody else that, I can tell you, at those levels, you know who's good, who's been naughty, who's been nice, right? And you're just kind of keeping an eye out there, how they're going to respond, and that's what they're doing. They're seeing, who's going to pipe up and start running their mouths. Like, okay, there's another one, and then those people that support it, it's like, okay, he's on our side. So maybe, could be somebody's like, oh yeah, they're doing a good job, and that's the worst one. So it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. So yeah, we'll get a lot more of these, a lot more of these people that are going to be revealed. Some of these people are doing a good job. The deep state's going to attack them and say, oh, look, they're bad. Now, today the stock market went up nicely, very significantly. I think all of them were up at around 2% at one point. It pulled back a little bit before the close. We have Federal Reserve, because remember, Trump has been saying Powell is late. He should resign. He should have been cutting interest rates long ago, because it's a deep state. They want to collapse our economy, so they're keeping interest rates high. And a lot of people have different they don't think they should be lowered, and blah blah blah. This is a takedown of the system, guys. A collapse of the system. So we want them to lower the rates, because it's going to make the dollar less valuable. The dollar is not ours. We don't own the dollar. That's a Federal Reserve. That's a Federal Reserve dollar. That's an evil, corrupt banking fiat currency. So some people are saying we need to just back it with gold. Would you back a piece of shit with gold? No. So the dollar's a piece of shit, guys. It's from a corrupt organization. It goes away completely. All right, something that's going to replace it. So debts are going to be forgiven for good people, not for evil ones. All right, we'll know which ones are who, and because this corrupt banking system has been taking advantage of people for a long time. So a lot of that debt that people owe will be forgiven, unless you're a corrupt person that's been using that to enslave and control and all that kind of stuff, build bad companies and so forth. Right. So Jerome Powell, he's basically kind of said that he was going to cut rates in September. So the market took off. Crypto took off. Silver and gold took off, right? Everything went up. It was an everything up day, right? Everybody celebrating. Now, the reason why silver and gold went up, really, though, is because the dollar went down. Because if they lower interest rates, that's deflationary. And the Fed needs to constantly create inflation. Otherwise, their dollar starts to become worthless. See? So that's what we want. We want that dollar to become worthless because that's the Federal Reserve's piece of shit money, right? It goes away and it's going to be replaced with something. I mean, you're going to be, given something that's valuable. Many people that have been suffering, I think, are going to be taken care of, like the people on the streets and so forth. The people using drugs, it's horrific, And that's how did America ever get here, right? We didn't. The deep state got us here. The deep state put us here. So the deep state is going to be completely taken down, and silver and gold will be extremely valuable. Silver will be, triple digit, well into the triple digits very soon, I believe. I think by probably the first quarter next year, we'll see very close to $100 silver, right? Not sooner. We'll see. We'll see, we'll bust through $40 because we're right at 39 something today. Once we've crossed 40, it's a fast track to 48. Then we kind of like build a base again, like we've been doing, and then we'll blast past $50, and then it's another race, right? A race upwards. If you really took silver and valued it with the money that America had before the Federal Reserve came in, and it was our money, then it would be worth, silver would be worth $1,551, right? An ounce. So it is, will it go to that? That's extreme, but it's the most undervalued asset in the history of Earth, right? And you can tell that from its cup and handle. It's like something like, what is it, 1970, 1980, 50 something years of a cup and handle. There's never been anything like it, ever, any asset. So heavily suppressed. When that comes off, all the shorts, all the banks that have been shorting it, that are already underwater, and soon they'll have to cover. That's what happened when the last times that silver exploded upwards. But then you see that the banksters came in and suppressed it again. They won't be able to do that this time. So when it rockets, it's going to stay up, and if you haven't gotten in at this rate, it's going to be very hard to get in, but people still will. All right, just like a lot of you are like, I wouldn't buy it if it was $1,000. Well, if you could buy crypto right now for $1,000, what is it? Almost $120,000. If you could buy crypto right now for $1,000, you wouldn't buy it? Yeah, you would. So that's going to be like silver. Of course, silver won't go that high, but gold will. Gold might. It's crazy. It's gonna explode. So as far as an industrial, so silver has the amazing thing that is, not only is it a highly sought after commodity for military weapon systems, batteries, rocket spaceships need it because of conductivity of the silver, even in space. Medical needs it because it's so clean. Medical instruments, medical when they put stuff in you, the music industry, on and on and on. Electronics, solar. They are, for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, maybe at least 3 years, I think, they have not produced more silver, like coming from the ground, coming out so that people can utilize it. It's been in a negative on a massive level for the last 3 years. So we haven't been bringing up enough silver for the demand. So if we've had 3 years of heavy, heavy demand for silver, and it's still suppressed at the rate that it is right now, what do you think is going to happen when all that suppression goes away? It's going to explode, right? Gold will explode. On and on. Yeah, jewelry too. Is that Nikki NZ? I have always looked silver jewelry. So there you go. Jewelry too, right? And it used to be in the Middle East and in India and so forth. On weddings, they buy gold jewelry for the bride and groom, or at least for the groom. I mean, for a bride in her, people in her shower or whatever. Now they buy silver. So it's really going to take off. So I just keep telling you guys that. So hopefully you've gotten into silver in this transition period when everything collapses. You're going to want to have it, right? So yeah, Powell was saying rate cut in September. Now usually when the rate cut comes, that's when stock market goes down, because everybody's saying, oh, he's cutting rates because the economy looks bad. Well, yeah. So for like 3 quarters or 3 months or whatever, we've had this one Fed puppet for probably the Federal Reserve that has been saying that the job numbers are spectacular. All right, we have all these people that are working and all that kind of stuff. It was so much off that it had to be a manipulated lie. And it wasn't just, because for well over like 2 years, almost every time they come out with one of these job numbers, a month or so down the road, they're like, oh, we looked at those numbers and we were off by 50,000. It was 50,000 less people that were in the job market. And everybody's like, oh, well, that's in the past. Oh, well. So, and just moved on, but they've been doing that for years. And now they got caught, I think, and they had to adjust those numbers by a massive level. And now the Federal Reserve is like, oh, yeah, we were looking at those numbers, and it looks like, we need to like lower rates because we got some problems in the job market. Yeah, you guys knew that. You were manipulating the numbers. That's why you guys are going to get hung, right? So executed. So that's because that's treason in my eyes, because you're disrupting our federal government, we the people. You're basically mismanaging us to the point where massive numbers of people are impacted, lives lost, businesses lost. Hang them high, and hang them, revive them, and hang them, and revive them, and hang them, and revive them over and over until I get tired of it, right? And I can watch that for a long time, right? Oh yeah, yeah. Keep on going. It's like, Jesus, these people are so friggin' evil. Now let me give you an idea of what this looks like as far as like the gold and silver diddly bobby right here. All right. So this is diddly bobby, and that's Sheila Baum and JoJo, and I don't know where these words come from sometimes. But today, a massive buying. So that green that's people buying. That's a lot. So everybody jumped in and bought, and you see that big long green thing. That's a candlestick that went to the moon right today, and it was very aggressive upward movement. So right now silver's at 39.05. Like I said, once it pops 40 and it stays above 40, it's going to go very quickly to 48. Then it'll play around there, and then it'll come back down, it'll go back up, come back down, go back up, and then it'll pop over 50, and then it's off to the races again. All right. So this is what silver does. As you can see, this is like a mini. So like boom, and then it like goes sideways, and then it goes boom, then it goes sideways, and sometimes these last for decades, right? But now we're into the point where these are lasting days, weeks at the most, sometimes a month. But it's really exploding upward. So you can see if I just go back, it goes down, it goes up, it goes higher than it was before. It's like, it's fun. It's fun. Now look at the dollar. The dollar goes to almost nothing, right? It goes down, and then silver goes up. Dollar goes down, silver goes up, because silver's better. Silver's worth more than the dollar now, because the dollar sucks. It's a Federal Reserve note. It's not backed by anything. It's worthless. It's nothing. Right? Thank you, Nixon. All right, and it can't blame it on Nixon, because Nixon was basically told by people that he thought were smart, but they weren't. They're deep state actors, like Henry Kissinger, that we're just going to tie it to oil for now, and then we'll come back to the dot. Then we'll come back to gold. He lied. They never meant it. So, all right. So you see how that that dollar is basically testing a low over here. So it actually pushed through that low, which was 97, and it went down to 90. What was it? 97.62, and it went down to 97. What is it? What was the low today? 97.556. So that is it's not looking real good. So now the 52-week low is 56. So I think we're going to break 56, and we're just going to keep traveling down. And then silver is going to keep going up, and the dollar is going to keep going down. And so way back here, that's a 96. All right. So I have to go way back in time to, like, find, where the dollar was a lot lower, but you can see the dollar is collapsing. Right. The Federal Reserve note, POS, is collapsing. We want it to collapse. We want to go bye-bye, and we want a new currency that's backed by gold and silver. All right. So very, very interesting how this is moving in that direction. Dr. Kirk Elliott and I were talking about this today in detail. So I'm passionate about it, because I know that it's going to really help a lot of people. It's going to help our country. But in the meantime, we could have some very problematic stuff.
Huge storage tanks full of everything from jet fuel to car gasoline to diesel to lubricants and things like that, sitting on the banks of the Willamette River.
A lot of these large petroleum tanks that are located right along the Willamette River were built to insufficient seismic codes,
Insufficient seismic codes, no. Now you go up and down the West Coast in all the ports, you're going to see these monster port facilities for fuel and oil. Now, when the big one comes and tsunamis come, you're going to see these things get destroyed, and they'll leak all of that out, and then we're going to have fires, and maybe people will survive. Very tragic. Maybe people will survive the tsunami, the initial tsunami, and then the fires are going to start.
Many of them were built pre-1970.
We've known this site poses a great threat during a megaquake for years, but Luke's research revealed a terrifying new detail.
There are other hazardous materials besides petroleum products in the CEI hub and in the industrial areas. It became very clear early on that There is information that is missing.
But first, we need to understand what makes these tanks so unsafe in the first place. And it has to do with the process called liquefaction.
Liquefaction is where you have loose sandy soils that when you shake, that sandy soil temporarily turns into a liquid. And so a liquid cannot sustain anything built in it or on it. So if it's a building, it could get torn apart. If it's something.
So in a major earthquake situation where you have, very significant shaking, you get liquefaction of the soil, and that's where you see a lot of these, looks like the earth is like shifting. It is doing some of that and spreading apart, but some of this is liquefaction, and that's what they're talking about right here. So we have a lot of stuff built over areas that very possibly and very likely are going to have this liquefaction happen, and they're going to like just tumble and spill into the waters, which will then go into the rivers, which will then go into the ocean. So it's not going to be good.
Buried like a pipeline or tank, it could pop up out of the ground.
Soils along rivers and waterways are especially vulnerable to liquefaction. And that's where we built a lot of our critical infrastructure and hazardous material storage.
So along with the shaking that is going to cause sloshing inside of these large fuel tanks, that shaking can directly damage the tanks. This liquefaction and these forms of ground failure can exacerbate the seismic hazard and cause greater damage at these large fuel facilities. Something like 50% of the material could be spilled. It would be equivalent to the Deepwater Horizon spill, which took place over months, and it would happen like that. That could flow into the river and make it to the coast and light on fire and potentially affect Forest Park right there on the hills.
With the right conditions, a fire could spread rapidly in Portland's 5,200-acre urban forest and could threaten 70,000 people. In the aftermath of a megaquake, the resources typically available to stop a wildfire just won't be there, and the results could be catastrophic. But
now, that scene there was directed energy weapons. So who knows? Who knows, guys? We get the big earthquake, and maybe these guys come in and just make things even worse with the directed energy weapons. I think they're going to make these earthquakes worse. Of course, they would come in and really fire in some directed energy weapons, is really cook these things up to be far worse than they already are.
But it doesn't stop there. When these tanks fail, they would emit toxic plumes that could waft over parts of Portland and could be deadly.
So these are things like anhydrous ammonia or chlorine gas.
Now, of course, they're just talking about Portland here, but this would be up and down the entire West Coast that would be affected by all of these facilities, being impacted like this.
Huge array of chemicals that can become a toxic inhalation hazard.
The report focused on just 4 of the highest risk facilities and created different scenarios based on the most likely wind patterns. The deadliest weather conditions could be in the summer, when air is stagnant and the gases could linger.
So the summer, that's when, like in this time frame, that I saw this happening. Now, we can obviously affect, these things. Maybe they won't happen. I hope they don't happen. I hope they don't happen now. I hope they don't happen ever. But people, we've been talking about this for, someone said in the comments that when she was a little girl, she was looking at this and everybody around her didn't care. It's like, yeah. But she was always, and still to this day, is ready for such an event. She's got probably her go bag and her stuff that she'll need to survive. But most people don't have that. Most people are just like, que sera, sera, and whatever will be. And it's going to be very tragic. There's been people, that myself included, that have said that it could be upwards of 100 million people that will perish from this.
More than 2,500 people could die from toxic gas exposure, and hundreds of thousands could be affected.
The people of the Linton neighborhood.
All right, so now if this happens, like we're talking about, you have fires breaking out, you have massive casualties, you have buildings, bridges gone, roads are blocked, bridges are gone. There's no way to like fuel up because everything is like being destroyed and burning and so forth. You're gonna have like the hospitals overwhelmed if they're even still existing. It's going to be quite a nightmare. So people are going to be in survival mode, but then you're going to have these fires, and then you're going to have these toxic fumes that come over. People will be injured, and there will be people that will be suffering from these toxic fumes. So it'll be probably, unfortunately, a lot of people will die after an event like this.
And people living up in the hills of Forest Park are in an incredibly dangerous position. The evacuation challenges are going to be really fierce, one of the most risky places in Oregon.
The team modeled just 4 industrial facilities in North Portland, but identified 70 high-risk sites, mostly on liquefiable soil. And that's only around Portland. Similar risks can be found all throughout the Pacific Northwest. Okay, so toxic gas clouds, fires in the hills, buildings and bridges collapsed. It all sounds truly apocalyptic. But that's not all. Climate change might make some of these hazards worse.
Oh, see, they had to throw climate change in. That's where I went. So that's a problem. So you'll get the good information, and then they'll throw some stupid stuff in there. Everybody's like, it's all stupid then. No, that other stuff was good. It was good information. Yeah. Oh, the climate change thing. Yeah, no, that's stupid. So you must be stupid. So your whole presentation's stupid. So that's one of the problems. So imagine Gavin Newsom coming on and saying that, yeah, we're good. Don't worry. Stay where you're at. Would you stay? A lot of people would. That believe in Gavin Newsom. I don't know how many people, like, I don't know, 20 million people, 20 million Californians. The other 80 million, I don't know how many people in California. I'm just saying 20-80 rule, right? Would run like crazy, right? But once you start running, everybody else is running. The roads get clogged, and it's a nightmare, right? So you need to be you need to have a good plan. Alternate roads. If the roads don't work, can you go on foot, go to trails? You got to have all these things. I've always done that. I remember I used to teach this at the Naval Academy when I was a senior enlisted guy there. We're talking about terrorist attacks, and I was like, everybody came to everybody in the whole academy came when I gave this talk, and it was brilliant. So I said, guys, I feel like we're getting close to a terrorist attack. And this was just before the summer break. Of course, 9/11 happened. September happened when everybody came back from the summer break. So I'm telling everybody this before the summer break because I'm feeling it coming already. You guys know I talk about this stuff long before it happens sometimes. So I'm telling everybody, you have to be ready for terrorist attack. You got to have different routes, alternate routes, and so forth. And I said, even when I'm going to the gym here, just so I ingrain it in myself, I'll take a different route. And everybody started laughing. And then 9/11 happened, and then they remembered. So, I can tell you this stuff. Do you need to run right now? You have to listen to your own intuition. You guys know that I headed for the hills, right? So I listen to my own intuition. My family, we listen to our own intuition. That doesn't mean you have to right now. You need to trust your own intuition. And I do have courses, right, where I teach intuition. Go to my website, michaelkjaco.com, and look for the courses. And remote viewing, remote influencing. So I need some of you guys, I need more of you guys to become remote influencers. So maybe we can stop some of this stuff, right? So, the future is ours. We're going to go into, a beautiful future. It's going to be very nice, but you're going to have to, be intuitive going forward. You're going to have to balance your masculine and feminine sides of your brain. You have to be balanced in them. All right. So the masculine, of course, the analytical left side of the brain, and the creative feminine side, the right side of the brain. If you don't have those in balance, if you discount one or the other, then you're going to be vulnerable. Right. So that's basically shutting down your intuition. So you need to have both of those going forward. You should have had those a long time ago. I think a lot of you guys do by now. If you've just been following me for like 5 or 6 years, you're intuitive at this point. All right. So maybe you could tighten yourself up a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I think most of you are intuitive. But if you're still, if you don't know if you're intuitive or not, you should do my courses. Right? They're very cheap now. They used to be very expensive, but and thank you guys that bought those, because I am here right now sharing information because you guys did that, right? Because it set me free, and I was able to like focus on this. Of course, I do other things now with the LifeWave and all that stuff, and I do well because you guys support me. You guys buy this stuff, and you get to the point where you're going to be rich, and or maybe some of you guys are already rich. Good job, and then you're going to be healthy. So a lot of people told me over the years that because of you saved my life. I'm a lot healthier and so forth. So that's my aim. That's what God. That's why God shares me with you. Right? So I'm here. I'm not a puppet of God, of course. I have free will, but God made it pretty clear that, and Jesus made it pretty clear that this was my calling. So I'm good with it. Pretty happy about it. Pretty satisfied. Lots of love from you guys. More than I ever got when I was in the SEAL teams. Yeah, that was fun. But now I want to do another thing about the war in Ukraine. So the war in Ukraine, I know a lot of you guys don't understand. And the reason why I want to show you this is because this could be impacting us, or some of us, all right? Not all of us. Some of us will not be in the way of this stuff. But some of you in the big cities, this could be something you'll see, unfortunately. So the drone war that is happening in Ukraine is pretty substantial. Now I'm going to give you some insights on what this looks like. And if things kick off here in America like I believe they are, we're going to see drone wars, all right? So you need to be aware of this. You can't just go. I used to teach guys about tracking. They thought if they went across the landscape and they're all silent and no one heard or saw them, they're good. And I'd come back and I'd say, you guys came across this beach and no one saw you. You're good, right? And they're like, yes, Chief Jaco. And I'd be like, look at all these tracks. And they'd be like, oh, shit. Like, just simple stuff like that, all right? So going forward, you're gonna have to think drones. You're gonna have to think drones. If things get crazy, you will be impacted by drones, and it could be all of us will be on a certain level. Now, drones can be utilized for positive, of course, because if we do have earthquakes that are very devastating, or volcanoes and tsunamis, whatever, we'll have all those. But drones could be very, very beneficial to go in and find people where vehicles won't have access anymore. And then you could send in a team to go help them, or you could drop. That's one of the things that the LifeWave founder, David Schmidt, he's developed a drone that is beyond belief, right? It's the best drone out there right now. No one touches his drones. right? And I've seen them. I talked to him one time. I went to his laboratory. So now these drones could be very beneficial. They could drop they could drop stuff that you need, water, food, and so forth, or they could drop bombs on your ass, right? And that's what I want to show you guys now. This is what's being used in Ukraine on an unbelievable level.
Ukrainian pickup truck was spotted and the drone took off quickly. Soldiers who had spotted.
Now, I watch these videos. I see these videos every day. I'm a warrior, right? I can see how this war is going. Ukraine is losing massively. Russia is moving at a increasing pace across the landscape. And I told you that Trump and Putin planned this, right? All right. So Trump is not going to admit that. Putin's not going to admit that, but that's what's going on. So the Nazis, the NATO Nazis are being destroyed, right? So you're like, well, America gave all that money. Well, that was the Nazi that were in charge, guys. That was Biden. The Biden Nazis were in charge of America. So Trump has not been giving the Nazis any stuff, guys. So you see, these guys are bailing. They're watching. Everyone watches for drones now in this Ukraine war. Because these things, as you see, it's basically a flying bomb. And it's controlled by somebody that's sitting far away. Drones are not new to me. I saw drones being utilized for 15 years ago on a massive scale, right? In the Middle East. We hunted terrorists with drones. They kept us safe. They can have all kinds of weaponry on them. Now, this is just a simple drone. This is a kamikaze drone that basically has a point of impact explosive, maybe some kind of mortar shell or something, and it flies it right into the target.
Drone in advance managed to escape. Successful work of Russian UAV operators.
So you'll have drones that basically are watching or looking at the landscape, and they have IR. They can work 24 hours. They don't care if it's night or day, right? So they're constantly looking. Some of them now are controlled by wire. So they've had all these different ways to basically. Most drones are controlled remotely, but now they have wired drones. So it's just a real slight cable that runs out, and it's controlled all the way back to the source, so that it can't be EMP'd or taken down by any other source that would like send out energy to stop the energy coming in, or the communication. So communication, it's independent. It's sourced back to where the wire goes. So these things have increased in capabilities. They can be put together very quickly, assembled, brought to the front. Some of them are already ready to go. They just put different things on. So you're going to see, like you saw with that one, like a mortar or some kind of shell that has a point of impact, and the nose cone is basically, it hits something and blows up. You'll see they'll drop munitions like hand grenades or bombs or some flint bomblets. It's crazy. So they can take out an individual, they can take out a group, they can take out tanks, they can take out all kinds. So you'll see now tanks have like wire